Hi everyone, in today's video I have some updates to share with you regarding changes that have been announced to the USCIS Citizenship exam. Earlier this week, USCIS announced that they will be making changes to the Naturalization Civics exam. This is the exam that you have to take when you apply for your citizenship. In this video, I'm going to share the important information that you need to know about, so make sure to stick around. Hi everybody, my name is Michael Ashoori and I'm a U.S. immigration lawyer based in Los Angeles, California. At my law firm, we regularly post videos to make sure that you're up to date with the latest immigration news. So if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe to our channel now. Also, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up so that YouTube knows to share this information with more people. As I mentioned in today's video, I have some updates to share with you regarding the Naturalization Civics exam. Earlier this week, USCIS announced that they will be making major changes to the naturalization exam. In this video, I'm going to answer the important questions that I'm sure many of you are curious about, such as what types of changes can we expect to see on the exam, when are we going to see these changes go into effect, and why are these changes being made. So first off, I want to share my screen with you and show you the official USCIS announcement that went out earlier this week. So take a look at my screen. Okay, everybody, so if you can look at my screen, right now we're looking at a policy alert from USCIS, and it's dated February 22nd, 2021. And the subject is Revision Guidance on Naturalization Civics Educational Requirement. And let's just scroll down to the background where we can get a lot of important information. And it says here, in general, applicants for naturalization must demonstrate a basic understanding of the English language and a knowledge and understanding of civics. Applicants have two opportunities to pass the related English and civics tests. On December 1st, 2020, USCIS implemented a revised naturalization civics test, the 2020 civics test, as part of a decennial test review and update process. In addition to making changes to the test content, the 2020 civics test updated the number of questions for applicants to study from 100 possible questions in the prior 2008 civics test to 128 possible questions in the 2020 civics test, and updated the number of questions applicants must answer correctly to pass from 6 out of 10 to 12 out of 20 questions. USCIS received approximately 2,500 comments from the public regarding the 2020 civics test and the policy. Multiple commenters noted that there was little advanced notice before implementation of the 2020 civics test, which raised concerns about limited time for study and preparation of training materials and resources. Due to the comments and in keeping with the executive order on restoring faith in our legal immigration systems and strengthening integration and inclusion efforts for new Americans, USCIS will revert to the 2008 test. So now that we went over that policy alert, I want to give you a general overview on what's going on. First, let me give you a general overview of what happens when somebody wants to apply for citizenship. Basically, when you apply for citizenship, you file a form N-400 with USCIS. This is the application for naturalization. Towards the end of the process, when you're applying for citizenship, you have to attend an interview before an immigration officer. At this interview, you will take a civics exam. This is the exam that we're talking about right now. During the civics exam, they're basically testing your knowledge of U.S. history, U.S. government, and U.S. civic values. Now, since 2008, this exam has been a certain way. It's been a certain format. Well, back in November of 2020, there were a number of changes that took place, including increasing the number of questions on the exam from 10 questions to 20 questions, and increasing the number of questions that you had to get right from 6 questions to 12 questions. In addition, they increased the number of potential questions that could be on the test from 100 total questions to 128 total questions. When these changes took place, as you can see from the policy alert that I just read earlier, there were several comments and complaints suggesting that there was not enough time to prepare for these changes and that there wasn't enough notice given to people to study for these different changes to the exam, and so on and so forth. And the update that I want to share with you now is that on February 22nd, USCIS announced that they will be going back to the 2008 version of the test. So now I want to answer some important questions that I'm sure are on your mind. So the first question is, what changes are taking place? Well, for one, USCIS is reverting back to the 2008 version of the test. So under the 2008 version of the civics exam, you will be asked a total of 10 questions. And out of those 10 questions, you must get 6 of the questions right. So you're required to get 60% of the questions right to pass the test. In addition, there's a total test bank of 100 questions. That means there are a total of 100 potential questions that you could potentially be asked on the exam. And just to clarify, this is a change from the 2020 version of the exam, which required people to answer 20 questions and to get 12 of those questions right. Additionally, the 2020 version of the exam had a total test bank consisting of 128 questions. So now the second question that I'm sure is on your mind is, when are these changes taking place? So this is a little tricky, so let's go through it step by step. If you filed your naturalization application, your Form N400, before December 1st, 2020, or after March 1st, 2021, then you will be taking the 2008 version of the civics exam, the 10-question version of the exam. Now here's where it gets tricky. If you filed your naturalization exam on or after December 1st, 2020, and before March 1st, 2021, and your naturalization exam is scheduled to occur before April 19th, 2021, then you have the option to choose between taking the 2008 naturalization exam or the 2020 naturalization exam. Now, in any case, if your exam is scheduled to take place on or after April 19th, 2021, then you will take the 2008 version of the exam. Now, the third important question that you're probably wondering is, why are these changes taking place to the Naturalization Civics exam? This is a great question. Well, for one, as we discussed earlier, back in November, when the Trump administration announced that they will be making changes to the naturalization exam, there was a lot of pushback. USCIS received a tremendous number of comments, and these comments were suggesting largely that people did not have enough time to prepare for these changes, that there wasn't enough study material prepared for people to be able to adequately study for the revised test. So that's partially responsible for why USCIS decided to go back to the 2008 version of the test. Additionally, earlier this month, President Biden signed an executive order called the Executive Order on Restoring Faith in Our Legal Immigration Systems and Strengthening Integration and Inclusion Efforts for New Americans. And in this executive order, there's a section specifically on improving the naturalization process. Everything from the N400 application to the naturalization interview to the English test and to the civics exam. Basically, this executive order calls for massive improvement to the naturalization process. Now, based on this executive order, USCIS decided to take these measures to revert back to the 2008 version of the naturalization exam, which is largely considered to be an easier exam. Again, as we discussed, there's a smaller pool of questions that could potentially be asked, and there are only 10 questions that are going to be asked during the exam as opposed to 20 questions. So now that we answered those important questions, I want to mention something to you. So the naturalization exam can seem very scary. It can be nerve-wracking. because ultimately there's a lot riding on this exam. As a word of encouragement, I want you to know that this is a test that you can study for, and this is an exam that you can pass with some preparation. There are tons of free resources online for you to see what types of questions will be asked of you and for you to prepare. So don't be nervous, just put in the work, study the material, and you should be fine for this exam. So I hope you guys like this information. Again, in this video, we went over the specific changes that are going to take place to the naturalization exam. This is wonderful news for anybody that's planning on applying for citizenship. Again, the test is going to become easier. The number of questions are going to go down from 20 questions to 10 questions. And overall, this is great news for anybody that's applying for naturalization. I hope you guys found this information extremely helpful. If you know anybody that can benefit from this information, please make sure to share this video with them. We're all about empowering you with knowledge. So the more people that can watch this video that can benefit from this information, the better. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and I'll see you on the next one.